3/4 of the world's population, the so-called third world, has been living in drought and famine and disease and pestilence and madness and war. You got that right. You got that right. So all of a sudden we get a little taste of it. 9/11 for us was devastation. The rest of the world is like, what? We got to. I mean, think about that. There are people groups who've lived in that kind of so-called terrorist attack day in, day out, day in for years and years and years. It's a way of life for them.
To those that have been prophetic, the Bible has always been the most incredible book. But even to those that aren't prophetic, the Bible is preaching on its own. Mm-hmm. Right now, everybody in the whole world that has any sense is turning to the word of the Lord to be able to figure out exactly what's going on. Yeah. And I know that if I'm in my body, I'm going to do the will of God. If I'm not in my body, there's no more struggle left. You understand? And I don't want to be in a blissful situation. I want to be in a peaceful situation. And when peace is not the absence of the struggle like we've talked about before, or the absence of tribulation, peace is the arena where you are in there with God. And God is inside of you. God inside minded, I've heard you preach. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm not saying that I'm comfortable, but I'm not going to let those things from without dominate my inside person. Mm-hmm. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So these are, when we come into where it's good for everybody, now we're starting to move towards the ideas of God.
Yeah. You're listening to The Urban Voice, Pastor Willie Coates Jr., Pastor Graylin Watson, and Prophet Earl Magley, Patrick Earl Magley. Today on the broadcast, we are just having a good time because we don't have an agenda other than just talking about what's going on. Marvin asked the question 1969, 1970, what's going on? The question is still pressing us today, 35, 36 years later, and especially pressing those of us who call the name of Christ. What's going on? If anybody ought to know, because the Bible said God doesn't do anything except he first reveal it to his servants, the prophets. So I know Patrick Earl is a prophet. I know Pastor Graylin Watson is a prophet. I'm tuned into the prophetic realm. And so, we ought to be able to respond to that question of what's going on from the standpoint of how God sees it. Not so much how man sees it or how the CNN News might see it, but what is God looking at when he sees this dark, dark world of ours right now. I want to talk a bit about jails and prisons, because I know you're all up in there. Pat, I know some of your guys just recently ended up in jail. Mm-hmm. And those that haven't recently ended up, many of your guys have got a history. They're in and out, and so they're acquainted with that. I know that's also a harvest field.
Yeah,
so I want to talk about that.
Yeah, it's a good. Well, I was listening to y'all. This is a hustling country, America. America is, they done tapped into one thing. They are creators. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You talking about wars and all this. America know how to create wars. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they good at creating wars.
We're the largest arms producers in the entire world, selling arms and munitions to every nation almost on the globe.
And so when you want to look at that, you know what I'm saying, and you say, well, they create wars on the streets of America. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying, to see what effect it have so they can carry it out. See, one thing about hustling, you know what I'm saying, a hustler, a wise hustler, he's very creative. Now, he may not know where that creation come from, but it's the gift of God. It's just, like you told me, it's used in a negative form. Yes. But it's like when you know what you know, I see America being the person that, say, for instance, if I was trying to get my point across when I was in the world, I might throw a brick through your window because I know you're going to call me. But you don't know where the brick came from. You know what I'm saying? But you need some help now. But the brick door is also, you know what I'm saying, your shelter. Mm-hmm. He's your protector. You know what I'm saying? And you can't never see me throwing the brick. Yeah. But I might be riding with you while the brick is thrown in your window. You know what I'm saying? America is real good at that. Amen. If the have be said. That's why America wants to, even I'm walking with Jesus, love him, but America don't want to hear Louis Farrakhan, because he knows the brick doors. Amen. You understand? Not scared to speak out on it. You know what I'm saying? Our prisons is, in the jails is full. You know what I'm saying? And getting fuller. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have no intention of releasing these people You know what I'm saying? They're doing it. I mean, I'm still stuck on Bennett when he says abort all the black babies. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know, you're letting us know. America's letting us know what time it is.
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You remember when I was talking to your congregation, I think, about that this today is not yesterday.
Right.
This is not the day in which they've got a large number of jobs for uneducated and undereducated, quote unquote, black folk to fill. You know, there's no cotton for you to chop. There ain't no beans to be picked. There ain't no tobacco for, you know, no, them days is over.
Yes.
And so now, what are you going to do? You got these Indians over here, if you can pardon me saying it like that, but that's just how I feel it. Brought them over here, you understand, to build the country, to help make this nation the wealthiest nation on the planet by free labor, you see. But now they have outused their quote-unquote usefulness. So what are we going to do with them?
Well, you know.
So now we become expendable commodities.
Yes, but thank God he knows it. You know what I'm saying? You know, you have to look at it from. I believe every man and every woman that's have a calling on their life. I believe, as you had said before, God, the devil come in and pervert that and make you see it his way. But when God put his hands on it, you see what I'm saying, and show you the prophetic of it and show you the truth that's behind it, you begin to see things that will make you do what, when you said these children got hope, they wouldn't have hope if somebody had not tapped into it. Somebody like a Patrick Earl Magley and the others, if somebody had not tapped into it and said, I know how to deal with this, let me reach heaven.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And by me reaching heaven, they finna have more hope. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody is standing in the gap when mom and daddy and nobody else sees. Somebody got to stand in the gap for what's going on in America. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a design plan, and you know, like you say, the handwriting is truly on the wall. You know what I'm saying? But if you have not been in that, if you have not been in that flood, if you not swimmed in them waters, then a person wouldn't know where I'm coming from today. But it is a lot of folks know where I'm coming from.
There's been a conversation, an ongoing conversation. I can remember back to the 60s when I was really active in the Black Liberation Movement. There was a conversation that you heard quite often about the King Alfred Plan. The King Alfred Plan was supposedly a plan to commit genocide against the black race in this country. And you know, I don't know. Surely there were some elements of truth in that, and there may have also been some paranoia on some of our parts, you know, but I think we probably were justified to be paranoid, having been the recipients of a lot of crazy, crazy stuff. I mean, you know, testing us and putting syphilis on our people and, you know, all kind of crazy stuff. I mean, you know, so
LSD.
Yeah, that'll make you be a little paranoid. You understand what I'm saying? But I think when you look at the stage and the stage being set, as it were, 70% of babies being born in the African American community are born now without a father. I say that all the time now because that statistic it keeps busting me upside the head. I can't get away from it. 70%. So in other words, only 1 out of 3 babies is being born in the black community now have father and mother involved in their life from day one, speaking into their life, giving them foundation, giving them encouragement, you know, all the ingredients that one needs to be able to be successful in life. You understand what I'm saying? In this life, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about after you die. I'm not talking about let's die, go to heaven. You know, what if you live to be 100 years old? You know, what are you going to do for those 100 years? So I'm talking about in this life. And I'm saying, you know, and a whole lot of the violence, a whole lot of the murder that's going on is going on black on black. Young black boy against young black boy. And more recently, young black girl against young black girl. And the more you hear of those kinds of things and the drug trafficking in our community, and of course, knowing, as I've said before, we ain't got no ships in the ocean that's bringing tons and tons of cocaine into the country. We ain't got no planes in the air bringing tons and tons of cocaine into the country. Somebody else is supplying all of that for us. And it's really not for our benefit, it's for our demise and our destruction.
Amen.
But I'm saying it seems like all a setup Because if you can paint such a bleak, dark, negative picture, pardon me, about an entire people group, after a while you could conclude them niggas ain't worth nothing. They are a worthless group of people. They shiftless, they lazy, they just want to be on the welfare, they just want to have a bunch of babies, they so violent, the prisons is full of them, so you end up like William Bennett said. Yeah. Nice Christian man, William Bennett, by the way. Yeah. Really nice Christian man who says, I'll tell you one thing that would help the crime rate, abort these black babies. Now, he wanted to try to play like y'all took me out of context. You quoted me out of context. That's not really what I meant. But as you said to me from the beginning, you said he couldn't say that without some power greater than himself, yes, giving him the nod and saying, right, go ahead and release that word into the atmosphere. That's right.